Benji Rosenzweig, and this is Shelter in Place from the Storm. And I've got Talya Weinberg here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about how her life and business are very different now, living in COVID world. Talya, why don't you introduce yourself before we start?
Okay, I'm Talya Weinberg, and I run my own art studio. We converted my garage into an art studio, and this is some of the mess behind me over here. I would teach lots of kids and lots of adults, different classes, different art parties, birthday parties, paint parties, and it was a lot of fun. And currently, that part of my studio is closed, and I am now virtually teaching art. So it's a virtual art studio.
Virtual art studio. So something that when we were kids, we would never have imagined was even a possible thing to imagine.
Yeah.
You and I have a cool and fun, kind of interesting history. So we went to high school together, sort of. We were both in Silver Spring, Maryland at Yeshiva High. And then I was good friends with your husband, Dave, who, gotta tell you, I owe a huge debt of gratitude because YU Jam, which was the radio show that I had at YU, started because he encouraged me, and he was kind of managing that station, and that really gave me the ability to survive a couple of rough years in my life. So
Wow.
I owe your family a huge debt of gratitude, if I were to say that in English. But you guys have always been kind of like the fun, interesting couple that I like to stalk on Facebook, and you guys just keep it interesting and are always doing, kind of cute and fun stuff and interesting stuff. Tell us about your family and what you guys have going on.
Well, it's true what you said. We do make a fun, creative team because I love to teach art. I love to create art, and I credit Dave for helping me get the business end of it set up, including back in the olden days in real life, getting the whole art studio set up and the business running and my website and all of that. And when all of our lives, when the whole world, changed dramatically because of everything, that he had the know-how and the gadgetry and the tech know-how to kind of pivot the business into virtual and set the whole studio up with all the screens and, microphones and the overhead camera and all that stuff. So we work together like that because business, that's not my thing, that's his, and the art, that's my thing, not his. So it works.
I like to consider myself a problem solver at work, and he really is. I mean, he's like, there's a problem, here's a solution, let's form a company and do well by doing good. I mean, he's on, I apparently have a little crush on him. I didn't realize how strong that was. So,
Man crush.
Big crush. I saw the thing that kind of made me think that you would be, or one of the things that made me think that you'd be a good person to talk to is you had 100 people at your art class this weekend. You've never taught an art class that big in person before.
No, I once did a paint party for women, and it was about 100 women.
Okay.
But I never taught 100 children at the same time because in person that would be quite the feat to do that. So.
How has the feedback been? What's the structure of the class? What does it look like? How does it, how much does it cost? Tell me about the class.
So when I switched over to virtual, I just really wanted to, because it wasn't just for local students, local people, I was able to kind of broadcast it everywhere and anyone anywhere could take the class. And so, I was just saying that it's just $5 per household, to just kind of take the class. So if you had, 3, 5, 7, 12 children, they could all just kind of, they could take it $5 for everybody. And it's about a 45-minute to an hour class, depending on what I'm teaching. And I really try to think about what people already have at home. So we're not doing anything fancy or elaborate with lots of supplies and materials. It's really just if you have a piece of paper, computer paper, markers or crayons or colored pencils and pencil and eraser, we're good to go. And then we just come up with lots of different art projects every time using the basic materials that people would have at home.
Right.
So
How, I mean, in your view, how do you see art and kind of the staying sane part of life, which many of us are trying to figure out? How's that connected for you?
um oh well, it's I don't even know where to begin because I feel that there's so many articles. You could just Google art and therapy, and it's so therapeutic and meditative and just fun, and it just uh, kind of just gets people out of their heads and the ruminating thoughts and worries. And speaking from experience as an anxious person, I do find that you can get into the zone. You put on some good music and you just do your art, and it can just be fun. You don't have to be artistic. You don't have to have the talent, the know-how. Just having fun, just scribbling, just kind of just doodling. It's just great. It gets you out of your head, out of the worried thoughts, and just kind of creating. And I created a class many years ago, and I called it Art Spa. Also, Dave dubbed it that name. So, Art Spa, and it was for a group of women where they came. We had wine. I put on music, and you did not have to have any previous art experience at all. And I would just teach a new technique, introduce a new material, and we would just have fun. And we would just sit around and have a good time, just creating. And it was just it's empowering. It raises confidence, and this is for kids and adults. It raises confidence. It's empowering. It's creative. It's meditative. It's relaxing. So it's good.
When, again, soon, hopefully, when the world get back to normal, do you think you're going to stick with the online side of classes, or are you going to go back to normal and just do in-person classes? Or is this just kind of like a Band-Aid until things get better?
So no, it's not a Band-Aid. I do think that there is a lot to be said about continuing the virtual art classes, because it's not just for now. I think that this kind of kickstarted it for me, especially because even before this, Dave was, I call Dave, he's my husband first, but I joke around that he's my business manager, but it's really not a joke. He really is my business manager. But he said, you could do art classes virtually, and I'm like, well, I don't know how. Like, who would even want me to teach them classes? I live here, they live there. They could find someone that lives near them. Why do they need me? But I'm seeing that it's a lot of fun, and that I have a good time teaching, and I hope that shows in my teaching. I can be goofy and silly, and I think kids appreciate goofy and silly for the most part, hopefully. And I see this as something that could be successful and continuing, and I think it's a lot of fun that I get to teach people from around the world. And a lot of my friends that have always said, oh, I wish my children could take classes with you, but I live in California, or I live in Timbuktu, and and it's like, this is the opportunity. And I just have so much fun seeing my friends' children and meeting new people who've signed on that I didn't know beforehand.
Right.
And I'm also looking forward to getting back to my real life classes, because there's a bond that forms when you're teaching children in real life. And I think they've always enjoyed coming to my classes on Sundays and after school, and I'm excited for that too. So yeah, so both, do a mixture. Yeah.
How are you guys doing personally? I mean, you guys have a small baseball team of boys in your house. So maybe not baseball. You got a basketball team worth of boys in your house. How are you guys staying sane?
I should have worn my outnumbered T-shirt that I have, because I am definitely outnumbered. We have 3 boys, and we're doing good. We're doing well. We have the space outside of our house that they can bike outside and scoot, and I get them outside as much as I can. We back out to some woods and a creek, and so I always joke, any Calvin and Hobbes fans out there, that they've got the Calvin and Hobbes yard, just hopefully taking a wagon over any of the cliffs into the creek. But we're good. They are in their Zoom school. My youngest is 3. We call him our preschool dropout because Zoom preschool was just not working out for a 3-year-old. We try to keep him entertained, and Dave and I, we're basically tag teaming, and that's kind of what we do. When I've got something or teaching a class or prepping for a class, or I even do commissioned work. I'm working on a couple of commissions right now, so that's been fun, but just kind of structuring our time, juggling the business and the kids and a preschool dropout, so we just kind of, like everybody in this boat, we're just doing the whole tag team and figuring out the routine that works. So.
And how are you personally kind of self-care, taking care of yourself?
That is a good question. I probably have to work on that a little bit more, but I am grateful that I'm kind of able to combine my business as art, as kind of self-care, because just doing my demos, and I've got a few here, that I just making a demo of my studio reflections, or a goldfish that I was teaching to a nursery class this morning. It's fun. I get to just kind of doodle and color and draw and think creatively constantly. So I feel like that's at least some of my self-care. And then comedies, watching a lot of comedies helps me. So.
What are you currently working on?
I love to go way back old school. I'm a big I Love Lucy fan. I think it's kind of funny that someone from the 1950s, a 1950s housewife, the comedy in 2020, I can still laugh out loud at, her what's the word? Shenanigans.
You'll appreciate this. When my daughter Nama, who's 10 now, probably she was 6 at the time, we bought her a book of ABCs of powerful women, so it was, I don't remember all the letters who was there, but C was Carol Burnett. And she read it, she's like, this lady sounds really funny. And I was like, yeah, she was pretty funny. So we pulled up a couple of Carol Burnett videos, and she gets it, and she hard belly laughs to Carol Burnett videos. And sometimes she'll be in another room just laughing. I'm like, what's so funny? She's like, man, Carol Burnett cracks me up. And I'm like, not all of those skits are so appropriate. But you know what? She could be doing a lot worse.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
She's got a real connection with Carol Burnett of all people.
That's so funny. That's great.
One other thing, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't bring Dave back up one more time. We were talking about him sort of solving problems. He started Kosher 19, which is a food service that's delivering kosher food to frontline and essential workers. That's pretty wild. I saw that he just delivered his 10,000th meal.
Yeah.
And that's all over the country, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
That's wild. And he's doing that while his day, keeping his day job and all that other fun stuff.
This is where our tag teaming, and I can't say it's easy, and there might be more screen time than we would actually want for our kids, but we got to make it work somehow. And I think that everybody in this world, we're in survival mode, and whatever that takes, if the kids are healthy and happy, if the parents are healthy and happy, if we're all doing the best we can, and if it means more screen time or a little bit more junk food here and there, whatever it is, then so be it. I just feel like we're all in this together, and we're just doing the best we can.
I read somewhere that our kids aren't going to remember how many blog posts we did or how many, what deals got done. Our kids are going to remember how we made them feel during this time. And so, it's not about the Zoom class, for school, and it's not about the homework. We got to do the best we can, but we really got to make sure that this is not traumatic. I mean, it's going to be traumatic. Our kids are going to remember this for the rest of their lives, but we have to minimize that trauma and make sure that they feel safe and secure and happy. And if that means watching more Carol Burnett videos on YouTube, I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to share before we go?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I hope that I'm doing, a service to people that are at home and trying to think of different creative ways, to utilize their time, and art is one of them. And I'm teaching lots of kids classes for that reason. I've been asked, and I have done paint parties. I did a paint party for a family in Florida with their family in Michigan and their family in New Jersey. And it was a lot of fun to kind of see the whole family come together. I led them in a step-by-step paint party, and that was a lot of fun. And it just brought brought them together, but, in a weird way, but, with, no flight costs. And they were still able to kind of be together, and art unified them. And I think that also people who are afraid of, oh, I can't draw this, I can't draw for the life of me. I've created a whole line of coloring pages that's on my website, and they can just go and color and not have to worry about, am I drawing this line correctly or this perspective? They just color the pages, and they're just fun, inspiring coloring pages with inspiring quotes. One is a Will Smith quote of, my life got turned upside down, because when this all started, that's kind of the thought that was going through my head. I was like, my life literally just got turned upside down. And then of course that song got stuck in my head, and I turned it into a coloring page. So everyone can enjoy that coloring page as well, but the song will get stuck in your head. And so it's a good song. I just hope that, I'm able to shine some creativity into people's homes during all of this, and even after all of this, while we are all still, recuperating, and as we all go back outside into the world, that I'm still able to provide this service for people locally and all around the world. So.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure that your website is linked here, and people can get a hold of you, and hopefully, people like what they see, and you can get a couple more students out of this. So I appreciate you, Talya. It's good to see you again. You look great, and your family looks amazing. And
thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in person soon.
Yes, that would be great. Yes, would love that. All right. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.